happy over there. We will shout and sing his, and everybody will be happy. Oh, now everybody will say, don't you know that there will be, that we'll be gonna be happy over there. We will shout and sing his, and everybody will be happy over there.
We certainly thank God for another expression of his love. God has truly been good to us. He has spared our life and have allowed our golden moment to roll on a little while longer. We're not here because we've been so good. We're not here because we've been so careful. But it was God's grace and God's mercy that have brought us saved thus far. We certainly thank God for Jesus, who paid a debt that he did not owe, because we owed a debt that we could not pay. We thank God for the Holy Spirit that he's given to us to guide us, keep us, and to comfort us. We thank God for each and every one of you, his children. And if you're visiting with us this morning, we want you to know that you are our honored guest, and that your presence is an enhancement to the worship setting. And if you're looking for a church home, we invite you to come upon the Southview family. Luke the 15th chapter. We thank God for our song leaders and fervent prayer petition on our behalf. Scripture reading that have been made. Luke the 15th chapter. Luke the 15th chapter. And for those of you who are 19 and younger, even of course, this lesson would be to all of us, but specifically to those of you who are 19 and under, 21 and under. This lesson is sort of geared towards you. So I want you to listen to me today as I teach from God's word. Hopefully I can say something that may encourage you to make life better for you, easier for you as you travel from earth to glory. Luke the 15th chapter, we begin reading in verse number 11. It says, and a certain man had 2 sons. And the youngest of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of good that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the youngest son gathered together all and took a journey to a far country. And there wasted his substance in riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land. And he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country. And he sent him into his field to feed swine. And he would have fainted, having filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat. And no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger. I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee. I am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father, but while he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I've sinned against thee, against heaven, and in thy sight am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servant, bring forth the best robe and put on him. And put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fattest calf and kill it. And let us eat and be merry. For this is my son that was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. and they began to be married. And the story goes on. The part we want to key in on today is this young man, when it said he spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land. In verse 15, it says that, verse 16, he would have fainted, having filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, because no man gave unto him. I thought I'd talk to the young folks, and all of us in particular, about the road to the hog pen. The road to the hog pen. I want to tell you this morning that the road to the hog pen was paved with good intention. This young man did not wake up one morning and decided that he wanted to be in the hog pen of life. But there are definite steps, definite decisions that we make in life that leads to the hog pen. And I want to encourage all of us not to go to the hog pen. I want to talk to the young folks, and if you don't have to, we want to encourage you not to end up in the hog pen of life. Because there are those of us who've been to the hog pen. There are those of us this morning who are hog pen survivors. God brought us from the hog pen, and we come back to tell you how the hog pen is. We don't want you to end up in the hog pen of life. Verses 1 and 2 start off, tell us detailed information on how Jesus and why Jesus give these illustrations dealing with the law. Jesus' enemy was criticizing him because he received sinners. They was criticizing him because he was a friend to sinners and publicans. They were stunned that Jesus would receive such people. That he would have around him people who was wicked, people who was evil. And Jesus, knowing their hearts, knowing their thoughts, he began to tell some stories about things and people that was lost. Jesus moved through these stories, and he tells, first of all, about the story of the lost sheep. He tells the story about 100 sheep. A man had 100 sheep, and one went astray. He left the 99 to go find the one that was lost. One sheep out of 100, 1% was lost. And then he illustrates the woman that had 10 coins. She lost one, and she swept the floor, lit a candle, and such diligently until she found the one. One coin out of 10, 10% lost. And then he goes to the son. The man had 2 sons. And when you investigate this story, both sons was really lost. One son lost on the outside and one lost on the inside. One lost at the house and one lost out of the house, which represent 100%. All was lost. That's really represent humanity, because when we look at humanity, all was lost. That's what Paul talked about in Romans 1, chapter 1. Paul said the Jews was lost. Chapter 2, he said the Gentile was lost. And then in chapter 3, he said all was lost. And then he says that because of the grace of God, he saved us. In the first 2 stories, the object that was missing was the animal and coin. But in the third illustration, that was missing was the son. Jesus showed the value of a soul that is lost. Every soul to God is valuable. And so is it with us today as a church. Because what's valuable to God should be valuable to us. And that tells me that every soul is valuable. Every lost person is valuable to God. Every dope addict is valuable to God. Every dope dealer is valuable to God. Every soul. The dope dealers, the pimps, the prostitutes, and the liars, the thieves, the backstabbers, and the list goes on. The whoremongers, the list goes on. Every soul is valuable to God. Don't make me call your name. Amen. Every soul is valuable to God. And so is it with us as a church today. We must not look down on people, but we must try to help and elevate folks, because everybody is valuable. Don't you never turn your back on nobody. Don't never turn your nose up at nobody. Don't never look down on nobody unless you're looking down to try to help them up. And I stopped by to tell you, you better be careful. I got to get to my lesson, but you better be careful how you treat folks on your way up. Because if you're not careful, you'll meet those same folks on your way back down. Well, in our lesson today, Jesus is actually dealing with the lost. I know we call this story the prodigal son. Prodigal, which means wasteful. But this story is not really dealing with a wasteful son. This story is dealing with a lost son. And there's a difference between wasteful and being lost. Well, the road to the hog pen. I've been to the hog pen. I didn't slop as much slop as some folks. But I've been in the hog pen. And thank God that God blessed me to make it from the hog pen. He blessed me to make it back to tell you. You don't want to go to the hog pen of life. The road to the hog pen. The first road, the first step to the hog pen is the request that this young man made. This man went to his father.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
The record says the youngest son said to his father, "Father, give me the portion of good that falls to me." This young son, according to law, was to receive 1/3 of his father's estate. Legally, nothing wrong with him asking his daddy for it. Though it was legally right, it was cruel nevertheless. Because the fact that he asked his daddy for that's supposed to be his when his daddy dies. It's simply saying, "Daddy, I can't wait for you to die. I want what's mine now." And as a matter of fact, in my eyesight, you could be dead. Because I'm tired of your rules and regulation. I'm tired of you meddling in my business. I'm tired of you telling me when to leave and when to come back. I'm tired of you telling me where to go and where I can't go. I'm tired of your rules and regulations. Give me what's mine. I'm out of here. That's really what he's saying. This young man, for some reason, he felt like he was missing something. By living in his father's house, by living by his father's rules and regulation, by being obedient to his father, he felt like he was missing something. And so is it with us today. Those of us who don't want to live by God's rules and regulation. Those of us who walk away from God's laws and leave God's church. We may not physically leave, but when we go into the world and live like we want to live and do what we want to do, we are simply shaking a rebellious fist in the face of God and saying, "God, you might as well be dead, because I'm tired of your rules and regulation. I'm tired of you telling me what to do and what not to do. I'm ready to live life for myself." That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. This young man Say, give me what's mine. Notice his attitude. His attitude was, give me. Give me. He was selfish. And that's the first step, is the selfish attitude of just give me. No thank you, Daddy, for seeing about me. No thank you, Daddy, for taking care of me. No thank you, Daddy, for putting a roof over my head. And no thank you, Daddy, for putting food on the table. He was this young man living in his father's house. Didn't have to pay a bill. Didn't have to pay a light bill, gas bill, rent. Here was, he was sleeping in his father's bed, eating his father's food, living in his father's house, wearing his father's clothes, and no thank you, just give me. Woo, how many of us are like that when it comes to God? Here we are living in God's world. I said God's world. This not your world. I know folks talk about this your world. This ain't your world. This God's world. Amen. Don't you be flat about folks who try to flatter you talking this your world. No, this God's world. Here we are living in God's world. Breathing God's air. Enjoying God's sunshine. Drinking God's water. Wearing God's clothes. Like Brother Miller was talking about earlier in the prayer, everything we got belongs to God. The car we drive, God loaned it to us. The house we living in, God loaned it to us. The clothes we wear come from God. The Lord give us. And here we are. No thank you, God. No, you've been good to me, God. Thank you for waking me up this morning, God. Just give me, give me, give me. This young man had a selfish attitude. He was inconsiderate of his father. Couldn't wait for his father to die because he wanted to be on his own. Young folks, don't be selfish. Amen. Don't go through life being selfish. Amen. Don't go through life only thinking about yourself. Think about your mother sometimes. Think about your father sometimes. Think about your brothers and your sister sometimes. Right. This world is more than just self. He was selfish. He was selfish. He was selfish. Give me what's mine. He thought he was missing something. He felt like somehow the light, the bright light in the far country was better than the light in his daddy's house. Felt that the people in the far country more entertaining and more better company than those in his father's house. He felt like the life to really be lived. If he was really going to live life, he had to leave his father's house and go away to the far country. He felt as if he was missing something. I better stay there for just a minute. I said he felt like he was missing something. Can I tell you? Don't you go through life feeling like you're missing something. Let me talk to the older folks too. Don't you go through life feeling that you've been missing something. You better appreciate what God has given you and appreciate life as it is. And just enjoy what you have and the life that you have and the position and the folks that you have in your life. Don't go through life feeling that you've been missing something. Amen. There's a whole lot of folks in the grave now. They're in the grave because they felt they was missing something. How many folks right now don't call on that? Are stone alcoholic because they felt that as long as they didn't drink, they was missing something. They thought that they was missing something. And now, since they took that first drink and took that second drink and kept on drinking, now they're stone alcoholic. Why? Because they felt that they was missing something. How many folks are just straight out drug addicts? Because they felt that if they didn't get that first high, they would be missing something. They saw others who was around them who was getting high. They saw others who was shooting up. They saw others who was snorting. They saw others who was smoking. And they thought that unless I get involved, I would be missing something.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes,
this young man, this father, he liquidated his assets, some of his assets. Gave his younger son the money. And the record says not many days after, he took a journey into the far country. He didn't wait till next year. He didn't wait till next month. He didn't wait till a few weeks. Not many days. I mean, as soon as he could get out of there, he was gone. But he found out soon that everything that glitter ain't gold. He found out that the grass ain't always greener on the other side. The record says that he took a journey into a far country, and there he wasted his substance in riotous living. Riotous living referred to a lifestyle that is totally given over to sinful and wicked behavior. This young man left home. But not only did he leave home, he left his mark at home. He left home. But he didn't take his mark with him. He left home. But he didn't take his daddy teaching with him. He left home. But the things that have been taught to him and his upbringing and his training, he left them. I think I better tell the young folks, when you do leave home, and you should leave home, and don't get me wrong, amen, you shouldn't be 40 years old, 50 years old, still living with mama, amen, unless you're taking care of mama, amen. He left home. But when you leave home, you ought to take some training with you. Take your upbringing with you. Take your teaching with you. Take what mama and daddy taught you. He left home. Took a journey to a far country. And there he wasted his substance in riotous living. Sin. Can I tell you, sin will cause you to waste. Sin is wasteful. And I'm not going to stand here today. I'm not going to stand here to tell you that sin is not a pleasure. Somebody may lie to you and say sin ain't good to you. Sin ain't pleasure. Sin ain't good. But sin is good. Don't y'all look at me funny.
Come on now.
It's good. Amen. Sin is good. But it's a pleasure for a season. That's what Hebrews 11 and verse 25 tell us. It says that it's just a season. In other words, sin is good, but it don't last long. Y'all with me? Sin is pleasurable, but the pleasure don't last long. So why give up eternity? Why give up everything you have? Why give up your relationship with good folks who love you and care about you, and your relationship with God for something that don't last? Y'all holy folks ain't with me this morning. You're sitting there like sin ain't good. Amen. You know it's good. Amen. Amen. You know it's good. But it's short term. It don't last long. Amen. It don't last long. Let me move on. Let me move on before I get off my lesson. But someone rightfully said that sin would take you further than you want to go. And sin would keep you longer than you wanted to stay. And sin would make you pay more than you really wanted to pay. Amen. You just wanted to pay a few $100s, but now you're paying for 18 years. Amen. Amen. You just wanted to, amen, you just wanted to pay $20, amen, to get in the club. How much does it cost to get in the club now? Just 20, how you know, brother? Amen. You just wanted to get in the club. But after you got in the club, you end up paying more than you really wanted to pay. And so sin costs. Can I tell you, sin costs? I know. As a preacher, I stand here Sunday after Sunday and tell you how it pays to serve God. It pays to serve God, and payday is coming. But I stop by to tell you, not only do God pay, I want to tell you sin to pay. But you're not gonna want what sin pays.
That's right.
Sin will bring separation. You see, sin brings separation between you and your loved one. Here was this boy, now separated from his father. Separated from those in his father's house. Separated because he in the far country. Separated from those who love him, from those that care about him, from those who will see about him. Sin separated. And so is it with us and God. Sin will separate us from God. From him who love us, from him who care about us, from him who will take care of us, from him that love us. Because Isaiah said, it's your sin who have separated you and your God, and he will not hear you. Sin will bring about sorrow. Here this young man in the far country spending his money, having a good time, whining and dining, playing and laying, huffing and puffing. I mean, he having a good time. I mean, he's staying for the last call. Amen. The last call, he's staying for. He trying to hit up every party, go to every place, meet all the folks. He just had a good time. And let me tell you something. When he was talking about the drinks is on me, amen, the ride is on me, amen, I got the bill, he had friends. Some of y'all know that when you got money, you got friends. Amen. It's always some folks who willing to go along for a free ride. But when this young man money ran out, his friend ran out. Why y'all looking at me funny? When your money run out, your friend will run out. This young man now living a life of shame. This man now done wasted his life. He done wasted his youth. He done wasted his opportunity. There he was in the far country, wasting his living. Can I tell you, young folks, when you do leave home, when you go to the far country, when you go to Dallas, and when you go to Florida, when you go to California and New York, wherever you may go, when you leave the small town of Waldo and Magnolia and McNeil and Conville and amen and Walker. Amen. This is my sermon. Y'all let me preach myself. Y'all leave Austin out of this. When you leave and go to the far country, I stopped by to tell you, find your crowd. Don't go and let small town, you go find your crowd. Find your crowd. Can I tell you where your crowd is? On Sunday morning, your crowd is headed to church. That's your crowd. On Wednesday night, your crowd is headed to Bible study. That's your crowd. Your crowd is around the church. And when you leave Arkansas, find your crowd. Find your crowd. He got with the wrong crowd. He got with the wrong crowd. And so many of us, don't you sit there, you grown folks and you older folks, you may be 60, 70, 50, but there was a time in your life you got with the wrong crowd.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the wrong crowd, the wrong crowd will lead you in the wrong direction.
Amen.
So what you need to do is find your crowd.
That's right.
And so this young man got with the wrong crowd. Wasted his substance in erroneous living. When you go to college, and when you go to the other cities and get your job, when you see that crowd just living for the weekend, that's not your crowd. When you see the crowd shooting drugs and snorting drugs and smoking drugs, that's not your crowd.
Yes, sir.
You have to find your crowd.
Yes, sir.
This young man got with the wrong crowd, wasting his substance in rowdy's living. You know the story. Spent all that he had. The record says, and when he had spent all, that's the tragedy of the story. When he had spent all. When he had spent all. There arose a mighty famine in the land. He began to be in want. And it says, no man would give unto him. Verse 16, no man would give unto him when he lost it all. Nobody was there to help him. Don't lose it all. Because when you lose it all, don't nobody want you no more. Don't lose it. When you end up at the bottom of the bottom, won't nobody want you no more. You can always come back to the church. Don't get me wrong. Church folks always want you. Church folks always will take you back. But the world don't want you no more when you lose it all. When you end up at the bottom of the bottom, those same folks that you thought was your friend will drop you like a hot potato. Don't lose it all. Don't lose it all. Don't lose it all. He lost it all. And the world didn't want him no more. And the record says when he tried to find something to eat, the man sent him into his hog pen to feed swine. There he was, would have fainted, having filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, because no man gave unto him. Here he was as a Jewish boy in the hog pen, down to the bottom of the bottom. Nobody wanted him. Bobby Womack said nobody wants you when you're down and out. You might as well say amen. He found himself down and out at the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the bottom, and nobody was there to help. Woo. That's why I come back home. You can get some food when you're hungry. Amen. I can always go to mama's house and get something to eat when I'm hungry. Amen. I can always go to mom and daddy's house when I need a warm place to lay my head. Yeah. I can always go to mama. All right, man. Sister and brother. Yeah. When I need a little something. Yeah. That's why I come back home.
Come on, Doc.
Out there in Dallas, amen. Out there in Dallas, nobody wants you when you're down and out. Amen. I know. I was in Dallas, y'all, and I know what it's like to open a refrigerator and nothing in there but water. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to walk in and go make a phone call. Didn't have all these cell phones like we got now, but you pick up the phone and no dial tone. I've been there. Don't look at me funny. You've been there too. I know what it's like to have to sleep in your car because you don't have nowhere to go. I know what it's like. Let me move on. I don't want to put all my business on YouTube. Amen. This young man spent all that he had and began to be in the walk. But the good news here, he came to himself. He was in the hog pen. I got to let you know. In the hog pen.
Yeah.
Looking at those hogs. The Bible says swine. Where I come from in the countries, we say hogs.
Yeah.
And looking at those hogs.
Yeah.
Slopping that.
Come on. Yeah.
Slop.
Yeah.
The record says those hogs, paraphrasing,
Come on, Doc.
was slopping that slop so that he would have filled his belly with the husk that those swine did eat.
All right.
Me being a country boy like I am,
Yeah. Come on, Doc.
grew up in the country.
Well.
And my daddy used to have what he called a slop bucket.
Yeah.
And we didn't throw food away.
Yes, sir.
But what we did was we put that food in the slop bucket.
That's it.
When you got through eating,
Yeah.
that leftover cornbread
Yeah.
went in the slop bucket.
Right.
Ernest don't know what I'm talking about. He grew up in the city. When you got through eating that corn on the cob, the cob went in the slop bucket. When you got through eating the greens, the leftover greens and peas went in the slop bucket. Watermelon. When you got through eating the melon, the rind went in the slop bucket. And when you got through washing dishes, amen, some of that dishwater went in the slop bucket. Amen. And I used to go down there and see my daddy.
Come on, Doc.
Pour that slop. That old spoiled, stinking slop. Had to get that slop bucket away from the house and get it down in the hall pen. He would pour that slop
Come on, Doc.
into what we call a hall trough. I know it's coming back to you. You would pour that stinking, smelly, spoiled, rotten slop in the hall trough. And the old hogs would, before you could even pour it all in the trough, they would be down that slop in that slop. And you had to pour all that slop all over their head. It ran down their ear, down their face, all over their head. Those hogs that's down there. Slopping that slop. And those hogs was enjoying that slop. But it was slop. They was enjoying slop. But it was slop. And he was looking at those hogs enjoying that slop. And he would have fainted having filled his belly with that slop. But can I tell you, it was just slop. Can I tell you, young folks, the world may enjoy the slop, but it's still slop. The world may seem like they like that slop, but it's still slop. Record say it came to himself. Let me tell you, don't never get down there with the hog
All right. Come on, Doc.
and slop the hog slop.
All right. All right.
Don't never, young folks, listen, if you forget everything else, I'll tell you. Don't never put yourself on sale.
All right. All right. All right. Sing.
Always hold some God standards and values. Always hold on to what mom and daddy taught you. And never put yourself on sale. Always be for sale.
All right. All right.
And never put yourself on sale. Let the world know that I got value. I got standard. Let that young man know I got value and standard. Let that young lady know I got value and standard. And if you want me, you got to come up to my standard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Be for sale, but never put yourself on sale. In other words, you see, when something is on sale, that simply means the value of it have lessened.
All right. All right. All right.
Every now and then we'll have a hailstorm to come through.
Come on, Doc.
And those cars that were selling for $40,000, now it's selling for $25,000 because they're no longer for sale. They're on sale. Every now and then you can go in the store and those clothes that was for sale when they first come out. Because they've been on the shelf a long time and been on the rack for a while and nobody wanted it and it's still there. It's no longer for sale. It's now on sale.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You get the picture?
Yes, sir.
The value of it is less. And I stopped by to tell you, never put yourself on sale. Always be for sale. And let the world know and let folks know that if you want me, you got to come up to my stand. Amen. I run a garage door business. Amen.
Come on.
And I'm for sale.
All right. All
And
right.
every now and then, I'll quote a prize.
All right.
And they say, "Woo, that's too much." And I said to myself, "Woo, you don't want me?" I ran a tech shop. I ran a tech shop in Camden for 17 years, customizing shop. And they used to come and say, "How much it cost to tint my window?" And I tell them, and they say, "That's too much." And I tell them, I said, "Now if you go back down Haddam and go to Center Street and make a right, there's a shop down there. They'll do it for less." I send them folks down there.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't on sale.
Yeah.
I was for sale.
Yeah.
And if they want my services,
Yeah.
I'm going to give the best service I can do. I'm going to do a good job, and I'm going to try to make sure that the customer is happy and pleased, and I'm not on sale, I'm for sale.
Come on, preacher.
According to the prize to the gentleman, other week, a couple weeks ago, and he called me back and said, "I found it $100-some cheaper." I said, "Good for you."
Amen.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on sale.
That's right.
I'm for sale.
Come on, Doc.
Amen.
Amen.
And because I'm going to do the best service possible.
That's right.
Now, religious-wise, spiritually-wise, be for sale and never put yourself on sale. Stay with God's standard. Stay with God's laws and scripture. And let the world know I got a prize. I got respect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen. I got more.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I got standard.
yes, sir.
And never sell yourself out cheap.
Yes, sir.
I got to get out of here.
Yes, sir.
This young man came to himself.
Yes, he did.
He came to himself.
Yes, he did.
Came to himself and said, "I'm here hungry.
Right.
My daddy got servants
Right.
who got food enough to eat and to spare.
Yes, yes.
I got to get up out of here. I'm going back home."
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't have a problem with folks who've been in the home period. Because most of us, sometime or another, one way or another, been in the hog pen. My problem is folks who won't come to themselves. I mean folks who keep going to the hog pen time after time. You see, when you've been to the hog pen one time, and God bless you to come out of the hog pen, you ought to say, I'm not going back no more. When you leave the house, you ought to give those hogs a permanent wage. And say bye-bye to the hog pen. Don't keep falling for the world's same mistake. I tell you all the time, some of y'all hear this all the time, some of you here hadn't heard this before. So this is for those who never heard it before. And for those of you who have heard it 2 or 3 times, you just laugh like you never heard it. There was a man, to show you the illustration, you shouldn't keep making the same mistake. Man was talking to another man, and they were having a conversation, Brother Banks, and in that conversation, the man kept on looking at the man's ear. And he said, I know you noticed me keep looking at you, but I got to ask you. He said, what happened to your ear? He said, well, I had been working long hours doing that weekend, and one day I came home and pulled the double, and I was tired and sleeping. I went straight on the bed, and my wife had been ironing and left the iron on, and the phone rung. And I was so sleepy, I just grabbed the iron and answered the iron, and it just burned all of that. And he said, but the other side looked the same way. He said, well, whoever it was hung up and called right back. You shouldn't get burnt the same way. Amen. Amen. When you've been in the hog pen and get out by the grace of God, you are not in back up in the hog pen the same way. I wish I had time to deal with the whole story, but the young man went home. He went home, and when he didn't know what to say, didn't really know how, he had went over what he was going to say, but he didn't know how his father was going to receive him. And when he got close to the house, the record says his father saw him while he was a great way off. And his father ran to meet him. And when he ran to meet him, he fell on his neck. Now, and kissed him. The record did not say that he ran to him and kissed him, but he fell on his neck. What was the purpose of falling on him? You see, in Deuteronomy, the record says that when you have a disrespectful and a stubborn and rebellious child, he's supposed to be stoned. In the Old Testament, they didn't deal with stubborn folks and rebellious children. They was to be stoned. And so this father, knowing that this young man had been rebellious and gone, did not want any harm to come to him, so he fell on him. So that if somebody would throw something at him, it would hit him. In other words, he put himself between judgment and his son. That's the way God done us. That's the way God done us. Amen. We should have been stoned. We should have been destroyed. But God put himself between us and his wrath. That's why the record says Jesus was hung up, in so many words, for our hang up. In other words, he took a hit. He was wounded for our transgression. He was bruised for our iniquity. In other words, God put himself between us and his wrath. And what should have come to us, he took it. He fell on his neck, kissed him, looked at him. He was ragged. He said, bring a robe, put on him, on his body. Cover up all that sin, that dirt, that filth. Because he was ragged, he was dirty, he was barefooted, he had been in a hog pen, didn't have nothing. Bring a robe and put him on. Bring some shoes and put on him. Because only slave was barefooted. This is no slave, this is my son. Bring some shoes and put on him.
Yes, sir.
And bring the ring and put on his finger so that he can have just as many right and privilege as his brother.
Come on now.
Because this is my son that was dead
Yes, sir.
and is now alive.
Right.
This is my son who was lost but is now found.
Right.
Let's kill the fattest calf. The fattest calf.
All right.
The best. I got happy
Yeah.
because I thought about how God give us the best.
Yeah.
Even when we don't deserve it.
Right.
Even when we don't deserve it, and even when we haven't earned it. He give us his very best. That's a lesson within itself. Bring the fattest calf. Kill it. And let's have a good time. We're about to have a party. We're going to have a party because my son who was lost is now found.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you, I got to leave you, but it ought to be party time. When a person come back to the house,
Yes, sir.
when a person who have gone astray come back to the fold, when a person who is lost is now saved, we ought to be happy and we ought to be merry. It's party time.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
Because every soul is valuable. Everybody in here is valuable to God. And since you're valuable to God, you're valuable to me, and you're valuable to the church.
No, you're right. No, you're right. No, you're right.
The son ended up in the hospital. But thanks be to God. By the grace and mercy of God, he ended up back in his father's house. I'm so happy. Because many of us have danced to the world music. Amen. And when the world plays,
Yeah.
you got to pay. Many of us have danced to the world music.
Yeah.
Though I haven't danced as much as some, I did dance to the world music.
Come on now.
I'm not going to sit up here, up in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And make like I've been perfect all my life.
All right.
Even mama know better than that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen. I'm not going to sit up in here and stand up in here
Come on now.
and make like I've never done this, that, and the other. Now, ain't none of your business what I done, but I've done something. Amen. I've done something. And don't look at me funny, you done something too. But thanks be to God.
That's it.
Grace and mercy
Thank you.
bring us home. And when we come home, God give us a better day. I like this, I got to leave you, but I like this. When you come home,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
God restore you
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to your standard that you were before you ever left home.
All right.
I mean, he restored him back as a son.
Yeah.
He did not make him a servant. He did not make him a slave. Amen. He made him a son. What I like about that, when you leave, when you come back, you're a child of God just like you were before you ever left. Amen. When you've been in the world and you come and God saved you, you're a child of God just like everybody else.
I know you right.
That's why I like that. And I got the right standing with God just like I had before. And I don't know why, if you got the right standing with God, then why you got to work so hard to try to have good standing with folks. It's harder to please folks than it is to please God. God has said, come on back. Folks said, I don't know, you need to sit down. God said, come on back, you my child.
Come on back.
But folks say, I don't know. I got to watch and see what you're going to do for a while. But if God said, you're in good standing with me, then that's good enough for me. If you're here today. And maybe you're not saved. You've been in the world and you know you need to come to the Father's house. Let me tell you something. If you're outside of God's house, you're living beneath your privilege and you're living beneath your dignity. Come back this morning. If you haven't never been saved, be saved, become a child of God, because if you're not saved, you're not God's child. Amen. You're not God's spiritual son and daughter. He's not your spiritual father if you're not saved. He's everybody created. He's everybody God. But he's not your father unless you're his child. You can only say our Father if you are his child. And a child has certain privileges than other children have. You see, my children got certain privileges that other folks don't have. I got my mother sitting there, and I got certain privileges, and Loretta got certain privileges that with her and in her house that Brother Bates and Brother Smith don't have. Amen. They shouldn't have. Amen. They just can't go up in there eating all the time. They just can't go up in there walking all through the house. Amen. When they go there, they got to sit down. Amen. Sit down. Sit still. Amen. Amen. And that's the way it is with God's house. That's the way it is with God. We have certain privileges that other folks just don't have. If you're here and you're not a child of God, you come out here and believe, repenting, confessing, and being baptized. He adds you to the church. You become a child of God. If you're here as a child of God, and you know that you haven't been in the right standing with God as you should, come on back. Because the longer you stay away, the further distance between you and God, the more dangerous it is. Come back this morning. Make up your mind, because I'm going back home. The young man came to himself and said, I'm going back home. He wasn't concerned about what the world said, because he didn't have no friends, no way. All his friends that left him when he was in the hog pen, he was with all his friends. That was nobody. Because his friend was gone. And with that come a time in life, you shouldn't care what other folks say. He said, I'm going back to my father's house. And if you're here and you're straight away, you're not where you need to be. You're not as involved and active and in the church as you should. You feel like there's a distance between you and God, or you and the church, or you and the people. Then come back this morning. Leave from here knowing that I'm in good standing with God, in good standing with the church. If you're here, come right now. If you just need prayer, we're going to be praying for those of you and those of you who have loved ones that need praying for as we stand and sing. Come on. I sin against